So if it weren't clear already that Republicans are pathetic, we have new evidence of that today. Let's talk about it in today's video. Hi, I'm Mike Greiner. I'm a lifelong Democratic activist who's concerned about the direction our country is taking. If you share my concerns, maybe you could like this video and subscribe to this channel, maybe even click that little bell that will notify you when I post something new. So it's Sunday morning and my grandson is working on a puzzle on the floor behind me, so you might see him as we go through this. But I'm here to talk to you about today is new evidence of just how pathetic and self-serving the Republicans have become under the MAGA leadership. So much for personal responsibility. Well, the first story comes from the New York Times, and of course I'll post links to all the articles down below. And the New York Times reports about a high school level hockey game in Pennsylvania, where the goalie for one of the teams was a girl. Rather than celebrating that fact, the opposing team engaged in chants that can be characterized as sexual harassment against her. I mean, it's one thing to kind of chant things in opposition to the other team, but to play against sexist tropes when you have a girl tending goal is really outrageous. Now, this is actually not officially a high school-sponsored league, but to give the league credit, they actually have banned students from the high school who were involved in these sexist chants from future games. And they're demanding that an official from the school be present at all future games to monitor the crowd and make sure that they don't engage in such outrageous behavior in the future. Now, the reason this makes me think of how pathetic the MAGA people are is I can hear already the cries about cancel culture and how they're trying to cancel the free speech rights of these high school students. I mean, if you need an example of that, just look at Aaron Rodgers' behavior recently, whining about the fact that he had to sit out some games because he refused to get the vaccine. And as a result, guess what? Got COVID! That's a big surprise. Aaron Rodgers, again, as typical for these MAGA Republicans, wants to blame everyone except himself for what he's done. And while he's whining about cancel culture, of course, who can forget Kyle Rittenhouse, who's been essentially banned from football as a result of his peaceful demonstrations opposing police violence against black men. Now, in this case, where I can hear the cancel culture claims coming already, this is a great example because they were not expressing opinions. They were not just playing children's games. They were essentially sexually assaulting a young girl who was doing her best to participate in a sport that's traditionally been male-dominated. She should be getting credit for that. And as some local journalists have pointed out, the real disappointment should be with the parents who sat there in the audience along with team coaches and other adults and did nothing to stop the sexist behavior that was going on. If anything, the response by the school district was measured and appropriate. But again, cancel culture and those claims are really just an effort to try to protect bad behavior. It has nothing to do with freedom of speech. And a clear illustration of just how pathetic the MAGA people are came from another article in the New York Times today, which again I'll link to down below. The headline is Democrats thought they bottomed out in rural white America. It wasn't the bottom. And of course, it's typical of so much of this journalism where the journalists from big cities go out looking for the real Americans who are Trump supporters to try to understand their frame of mind. My favorite quote is at the end of the article where Sharon Lindsay, a 69-year-old librarian, said people were offended that today's liberals assumed their area is inherently racist or bigoted. Quote, "We know they wrote us off," Miss Lindsay said. "They never talk to us. We never see them, and we see Republicans all the time." Poor, abandoned, rural MAGA people, looked down on by those elitist liberals, right? And yet, these are the same people who would be criticizing the cities, claiming that they are violent and filled with drugs, using all kinds of racist tropes to describe urban areas. So it's not just a matter of them writing off urban areas. It's a matter of them actually using those urban areas as the foil for their fear-mongering. I mean, what these two articles show is once again really how pathetic the Republicans are. Their entire approach is this self-pitying attitude of, oh my gosh, we're no longer going to be in the majority. We no longer get to have the unwarranted privilege that comes with us having white skin. God forbid that people who don't look like us also have a say in how this country is run. Poor, poor us. Well, if that doesn't make you feel that these Republicans are absolutely pathetic, I just don't know what will. These rural whites have and continue to enjoy all kinds of unwarranted privilege. And the fact that they may actually have to share some of that with somebody else is just outrageous to them. Well, if you agree with me or disagree with me, I'd love to see your comments down below. And if you could like this video and subscribe to this channel, that'd be a huge help. I'd also like to direct your attention to another video I have linked up here that talks about the racism of Republican campaigns. I'll see you in the next video. In the meantime, let's hope for continued progress. Thank you.